Good morning, good morning. How's everybody doing? Richard Branson, it's Richard Branson. Where? Nice job. Everybody wants to know, where's Richard Branson? He wants some money for us.
That'd be great.
Yeah, it would be great. So Richard Branson, Amber and I were talking this morning that Richard Branson, y'all know Richard Branson?
Yeah.
Who doesn't know who he is? It's okay if you don't. He's like one of the richest dudes on the planet. And he's, you know, he has Virgin Airlines. He's got all these businesses. And what he does when he has to make a really big, like pivotal business decision, he jumps out of a plane. Yeah. No big deal. No big deal. He jumps out of a plane. Do you know why he jumps out of a plane?
Where's your head?
There's his head. I think it would clear anybody's head, quite honestly.
Clean my bowels.
Y'all didn't hear it, but it's okay. The visual, I don't want to share the visual with you. That just went through my head. But on a side note, who has ever jumped out of an airplane? Okay.
No desire.
Who wants to jump out of an airplane? Okay. All right. Okay.
I don't want to, I need it. Who does?
Yeah. Who does want to jump out of an airplane? Raise your hand. Okay. I turned 60 last month. And I said that for my 60th birthday party, I would jump out of a plane. And it was too cold to jump out of a plane on December 30th. So this summer, I'm jumping out of a plane. Who's going with me?
I am.
Okay, I'm serious. I'm serious. So I'm gonna let you guys know. Cynthia's looking at me like I've lost my marbles. Yep, okay. Kathy's gonna push. Tammy's gonna push Kathy. Okay, all right, let's do it. You push Kathy, Kathy pushes me, and we all go. No, if you're pushing me, baby, she's pushing you. No, if you're pushing me, somebody's pushing you.
Anything, I'll wait for you guys on the bottom
And cheer us on.
and give you flowers either way if you.
You'll have a moment of silence for us if you need to. All right, so yes, Richard Branson, y'all are privy to a previous conversation. You're welcome. Good morning, you guys. Something you're grateful for. Who's grateful? Who has something they're grateful for today? Susan.
I'm grateful. Is my right hand today?
She's at a closing. She's at a closing.
No, that's right. Yeah. those
You know,
really
she's
cool
wearing her closing shoes.
Yeah.
So-
Yeah, she was able to cover for me when I was out to California, which is always so nice to have awesome friends and agents who can do that. And she knows I've got her covered when she's traveling to Puerto Rico, so
Yeah.
I'm grateful for her.
Coming at you.
Nice, nice talk.
Nice toss, easy toss.
Easy talk.
Didn't take out anybody's eyeballs.
No.
Good. All right, give me another gratitude, Todd.
Beckham. My second grandson is 3 days old.
Oh. Well, your second grandson. I love it. Isn't it awesome being a grandparent?
3 days old.
It is awesome being a grandparent. It is the best job on the planet. I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. What do you call Tom? What does he call you? Or what will what is your other one called?
His big brother is Red,
Okay,
and Red calls me Pops.
okay.
I love that.
My kids have called me Papa for years, so I inherited the name.
Pops it is.
Love it.
I love it. I love it. All right, give me one more gratitude, Sherry.
I am thankful for Robin Taylor.
Oh.
She's helping me so much getting started with my career and learning how to do the contracts and all the stuff that I don't really love to do. So I so appreciate it.
She knows a thing or two.
She does.
That is for each of you. You guys are awesome. You're awesome, awesome. Well, thank you, because gratitude, everything starts with gratitude, right? Even when a deal goes seriously south and you really just want to, kind of kick your clients off of a cliff and say, oops, did I just do that? But gratitude is everything, right? Birthday. So gratitude is everything, right? So, all right, let's get, speaking of gratitude, let's give some gratitude to Derek. Woo! Chick-fil-A, I mean, it always pleases. So Derek, tell us all about All Atlanta, and we need to know the story here with Amerispec. So come on, give us the dirty details.
As y'all know, we're Amerispec, all the people are the same. Our contract has expired, so we went in our own direction with All Atlanta. So after a year of hard negotiations, that we have re-signed with Amerispec. So nothing changes at all. Phone numbers, emails, nothing changes. It's all the same. We're all the same people. But I pulled in the parking lot today, Robin.
Yes, sir, Derek.
And I started reflecting because this is gonna be who was here for the grand opening of this office? Wow.
Roxy is on the other side. Roxy is in a meeting over there. She would have been here.
Okay. When I pulled in the parking lot, I don't know why I thought of that. Then I started reflecting all morning about, I'm Papaw. Isn't it great? I'm Papaw. Awesome. So as I'm reflecting, I'm just, I had a conversation with Robin and Susan and so. And then my daughter-in-law sends me a picture of my first grandson when he was little, with his first steps. So.
Today is a day of reminding of new beginnings.
It is. Well, the key is that we've been around for a minute.
Yeah, just a minute or two.
Just a minute. So there's nothing new that I can say to wow you, just other than call us. Fully staffed. I'm hiring 2 more inspectors to get ready for this home selling season. Some brokers tell us doom and gloom. No. That's not gonna fill my cup. What fills my cup is Keller Williams. We go to lots of team meetings. We're affiliates with lots of folks. And the most positive, uplifting, go get it attitude is at Keller Williams. So because of that, Donnie and I, we sit and we talk about what we're gonna do. So we're hiring another office person and 2 more inspectors, and the other inspector, the one is gonna start Friday. So we're gearing up for this office to call us. That's it. And I decided not to talk about you or Susan. I'll leave it alone.
Okay.
So just call us up. Our numbers are all over the place. Everybody knows us. So just call us. We're ready.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank you, Derek.
Is that 2 minutes?
Oh, 2 minutes.
You're welcome.
You're welcome. Thank you for the lunch. Thank you for the 2 minutes. Thank you for being who you are and just being a part of KW. We appreciate you guys so much. So, all right, let's get into our lines. We need a little mortgage industry update. So can we have the most fabulous ladies of mortgage on the planet? Well, like send out the memo for your colors.
We just do this. It just happens. My work wife. It just happens. It's like after 12 years of this, it just kind of happens. I really will push out of the plane. I will not jump out of the plane.
I'll jump.
I'll ride in it
Okay.
and stay in it. I'm gonna be tethered to the side. And, yes,
And
Tammy did it.
we're gonna cut the rope and we're bringing her with us.
Oh, yeah, she doesn't know.
Somebody
She doesn't know, but we're gonna-
Somebody will physically die when we hit the ground. So Tammy did it on her 50th. She flew out to California and her 2 son-in-laws jumped out of a plane with her.
Yeah, I was supposed to do it on my 49th. That was the plan, to do it the day before, but the weather was bad, so we did it on my 50th.
I'll have to find the video because we turned it into marketing piece. We'll do
It was
anything,
great.
even jump in
Yeah.
a plane. So I'll have to send that. So the economic forecast, those that missed it last week, we're gonna get the link, we'll send it out so you can have it. And again, share details of it. Everybody thought it was very informative. Rates will stay between 6 and 7 on the mortgage side. Yes, the Fed will cut the Fed rate, but we should stay in that 6 to 7 range this year is what they're saying now. So that's the overview. So don't tell people to wait for 5 because we're hearing agents tell people, well, you know what, it's probably gonna be 5.5 end of the year. Don't do that.
Right, no,
Don't do that, and don't give any information that you don't have a valid link and or person that it comes from. You know, it's just like, I'm gonna tell Kathy something and I'm gonna tell you something, it's gonna go around the room and change.
Yeah.
That's what we're seeing, so have your data, you know, to refer to too. We're seeing people, well, the agent said something, I'm like, where did they get that from? So be careful with that, but we've got the co-branded flyers, we've got HomeBot, we've got list reports, and as of yesterday, we have rate plug. So if you have a listing,
Yay, rate plug is back.
yeah, if you have a listing, you'll be able to go on the listing and or a buyer or someone will and pull the information. They'll have current rates on all the different programs. And you'll have your own created flyer for that listing or any listing that you're showing. HomeBot is for you personally to know your value, to attach your customers to so that they know their value. It's a very slick monthly update. We have an 81% open rate on that, so we're seeing that a lot of value. List reports, as soon as you list a home and it's in FMLS, it's gonna automatically send you all the data that you can just forward or send out. The neighborhood is really pretty. If you haven't seen it, get with us and we'll show you that. And we're busy, y'all.
We have our calendars, guys, with the mouse pad. You guys, I'll put them out there if anyone wants one.
Yeah, it's picking up, so reconnect with people that maybe let go 2 years ago or earlier this year because they're coming back and looking.
I just want to give a shout out to Kathy and Tammy. They're always available, weekends, whatnot. And last night I was dealing with something that has nothing to do with them. It was not their loan, it was not
Totally
their
different
file. And, I know I can always reach out to them and ask them questions. And I mean,
And I gave you a red alert, didn't I?
yeah, they have, a few years experience that combine, that you're getting a reliable information, so.
And if it's not the mortgage side, and I know it's the attorney side or the broker side, we're gonna refer y'all back.
Oh, yeah.
We're gonna
Oh, yeah.
say,
Always.
this is really contract, this is really, which is. kind of
Yeah.
what-
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
like, do not touch
No,
that with
no,
a 10-foot
no,
pole.
don't do
so-
it, don't do it, don't do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it doesn't matter, and we mean that, we're not just that other mortgage person, we do want your business. But if it's something to do with anyone, even if we're not working with them, feel free to reach out and we'll try to help answer the question that's mortgage side. Or refer you back to Melba or Robin, or, sometimes like I've had in the evenings where I got Roxy on the phone with me to help an agent write a special stiff. That they were trying to write, I'm like, you don't wanna do that. Let's see what Roxy has, and Roxy found it for us.
Yeah.
Happy to help.
Thank you. All right, ladies, thank you so much. All right, where's my Kern? Hi. Hey.
The boots too.
I know, everything. We approve. So glad that now you can carry on since we approved.
Wait, now we have the important stuff out.
Yes, that's it, the most important things.
Good morning, everybody. I'm Kern Schwartz with O'Kelly and Sorahan. So we are your closing attorney partner. I want to talk about one of the changes to the GAR forms that some of you may not be aware of yet. The Community Association disclosure, I'm going to apologize in advance for having to discuss this again. So right, they made that change a couple years ago. Seller discloses in A5 what the transfer initiation fees are as defined in your GAR contract. Okay. So if he puts 0, leaves it blank in A, or under discloses it, he's gonna pay the difference. All right, now we're having a similar issue with the annual monthly dues, okay? So y'all have that in front of you, so look at the front page in paragraph 3 under annual assessments. All right, so the total that's gonna go in that blank is the calendar year. So if it's paid monthly, semi-annually, quarterly, you get the total amount and then how it's paid. All right. And then on page 3, where it explains that paragraph at the top of the page, okay, it's a disclosure to the buyer. Fees can go up, right? They do go up. That happens. We want buyers to expect that that can happen and not be alarmed by that. In B, the buyer is gonna pay any prepaids. Usually it's 2 months worth of dues. That gives them time to get them in the system. Prepaid assessments, move-in fees, security deposits for elevators, that their buyer's gonna pay. And those are not transfer and initiation fees. Okay, the seller in C is gonna pay anything that's past due, move out fees, foreclosure fees, those kinds of one-time charges assessed to the seller. And in C now, any fees in excess of the sum disclosed in A3 for the remainder of the capital year in which the property was contracted to be sold. So what does that mean? We're looking at some HOAs are not calendar year. Their fiscal year is different. Okay, so it's either gonna be through the calendar year. So if he discloses $2,400, okay, $200 a month, and it's $2,600, he's gonna pay that 200 for the rest of that amount for the rest of the year. And it's gonna, depending on how it looks when we get the letter, it's gonna affect prorations too, right? Because the buyer's not gonna credit back part of what he's obligated to pay because he under disclosed it. Right, so your settlement statements, we'll go through it with you. Alerted my staff to this so that they can alert everybody. We get fussed at for this like all the time. All I do is interpret your contract, right? So that said, if it's different than everybody's understanding and y'all need to do an amendment and fix it the way you want it, both parties intended it to be, fine, no problem. We can do that. Just let us know. But my staff is trained to look at it. My closer asks me all the time, hey, did I do this right? Take a look. I look at it too. But just be aware, because it's gonna be the same thing, I suspect, with transfer and initiation charges, because we see that all the time, where, y'all got the buyer, the listing agent, and they're yelling at us and yelling at y'all because the seller didn't disclose any fees, and there's $1,000 initiation fee, and it's on the seller's side. I mean, that's where we put it. So, we try and help, with that, but just be aware. And then for your listings, please, please, please make sure that your sellers are reading this, understanding it, getting those fees, and special assessments. I'm not gonna go into that today, but that applies to getting those fees from their HOA so that they disclose it correctly. All right. And I'll say, because you and I work in this world, but the cobbler's kids have no shoes, right? Like I have HOA, I don't know what it is. I noticed that it came in the mail. My husband pays the bills. I didn't open it up. Like they need to drill down on that because it ends up costing them money.
I've got a question. When y'all get that back from the HOA, you send in, you ask for the letter, you get an account, and then y'all put it on your closing disclosure statements. Is there an opportunity between the time that you get that HOA letter before the closing statement is done that you can, that
My staff,
call and say, hey, are there going to be any surprises? Because I may want to do an amendment before the closing disclosure is distributed, or is it sometimes coming in at the
so
last
it's usually
bit?
coming in hot. So
Okay.
now, right, a lot of them have gone to non-rush 10 days.
Yeah,
Right, so, 10 business days, and some of them even longer than that,
yeah.
10 to 15.
So you may be
So a
dealing with
lot of
that
it
at the
is-
last minute.
Yes, a lot of times we're
Yeah.
waiting on it. We do, my staff is really pretty good about doing this. We're not perfect, but, we do try and alert, like, if there's big HOA fees, and sometimes we don't want to send it out yet because so a lot of times we get them and there's a violation on there.
Mhm.
And it's already been handled, and so we're not trying to
hide
it
anything,
ruckus.
right?
We just need to get the seller to contact the HOA so they can clear that off the letter for us.
Okay.
And getting them to respond to us. But yes, if I, see something, we have something unusual, we're trying to alert everybody so that y'all know before you get the settlement statement. And with us, Monica's gonna send both agents the settlement statement to review, because we want it to be, right, when we send it out. So she's waiting and looking to y'all to say, hey, does it look right? Did I miss anything? Do we need to correct anything? Not a big deal if we do. I mean, she's the best closer in the business, hands down. I mean, she's awesome. But she deals with a lot of stuff, and sometimes she's working, trying to hammer out a bunch of files as they're coming in all at the same time. So it's that second set of eyes, because y'all see it before I see it too, but I review it again. And if I see anything on there that, it is unusual, like.
Moral of the story, know your CAD.
Yeah,
Know your CAD.
yeah, it's the biggest headache on our end. Because so many people out there don't understand what it says, and then sellers having to pay things.
And if your seller if you haven't advised your seller on your listing agreements to call their HOA and get all of the information right when you list it, you're gonna be behind the 8 ball. So do yourselves a favor and do your sellers a favor that when they sign the listing agreement, buddy, you're putting those disclosures in front of them, and it is incumbent upon them to call the HOA. And it is their disclosure to complete. Melba, is
Yes.
it not their disclosure to complete? It's not your job as the listing agent to help them complete it. They call their HOA and they complete their document. Wendy.
But as the agent, we should beg them to call the HOA and not fill it out from memory.
That's correct. Call, get the confirmation. You don't know if it goes up or a transfer fee.
I-
Got it.
Yes,
Please
and-
don't do this from memory. Don't ask your neighbor what the answer is. Don't ask your friend that's on the board. Call the official number
Right.
and find out, especially that initiation. So many of my clients, even after saying that, I get back and it's 0. And I'm like, no, there's no way this is right. There was one time my client was like, no, I'm sure that it is. And I'm telling you, I'm looking at other listings in your neighborhood that say it's $1,500.
Yeah,
I'm gonna say you should make the phone call, and it was $1,500.
Right.
Yeah.
And I will tell you, because I've had this experience as well, with HOAs, because they're not looking at your contracts, right? So, and you gotta look at your contracts. I see Melba's here, so now I'm really gonna behave. Because you may have a 2023 still, the first part of the year, disclosure. But I have had HOAs that have told sellers, oh, yeah, you've got to pay, you've got to pay the upfront, right? Yes, you've got to pay $350, but you'll get that back from the buyer. Because it's a processing fee or whatever because they want to say the letter's $10. Well, yes, the letter's $10, but really to get it, but your contract says all those upfront fees, the seller's gonna pay.
Which is also why you want them to have the conversation with the HOA, not you. So
right.
you're not in the middle of.
Exactly. And I think it's looking at it from my end, right? I think it would be helpful for your sellers and for you, especially, at the table when everybody's looking at the numbers. When you're taking to tell them if it is under disclosed, you will end up paying that. Because then when they come back and go, whoa, remember,
I told you.
that's one of those fees that you're gonna pay.
And recap that in an email.
Yeah.
Get that in writing that you told them that
Yeah.
this is the process and they will be responsible for the fees if they do not do it properly.
Look on the bottom of page 3. Look on the bottom of page 3. Can anybody tell me where you sign as the agent? What? Why? Not your disclosure. It is the seller's disclosure. The seller's responsible. Do not fill that disclosure out for your clients.
Do not check one box.
Do not check one box. Do not. Seller's disclosure, do not do it.
And I'll say this with initiation fees too. Because, you know, a lot of times people who've lived in the neighborhood for a while, there maybe wasn't one,
Yeah.
and now there is, or it's more than it used to be.
Yes, happens all the time.
Yes.
Subland.
And there's, yes,
That
that,
does
yes.
happen to us too.
Yes, masters and subs, and really from, you know, most of the neighborhoods, like if you know, like, I can tell you, I mean, it's still your seller's responsibility to do, but I can kind of tell you the ones, because we've closed most of them. Most of them I know who's got a sub, who doesn't.
Yeah, yeah. So, all right, thank you, Kurt. Thank you. Kurt's got a happy hour at family reunion, Sunday, February 25th from 7 to 9. So please grab that, if, at the House of Blues. If you're going, you get wine and dine. All right, 210 home warranty. I don't think Kelly is on. Tammy, come on up from Georgia Natural Gas. I think I see you. Everybody say hello. Tammy, thank you so much. It's very shiny.
Gosh, a lot of people here today. If I haven't met you, my name is Tammy. I'm with Georgia Natural Gas. And if you're not familiar, we do have a real estate program where we offer you as the agent an opportunity to offer a discount to your client when they need to sign up for natural gas service through Georgia Natural Gas. So you can offer them a discount. They're getting $120 in bill credits or a per therm discount that only you can offer. A lot of people moving into our area do not know that we have a choice here. Moving in from other states, it's regulated. They have to use the gas service that they're told to use. So a lot of people don't know that we have a choice. So you do here in most areas. So you as the agent, if you're not part of our program, I'm gonna leave some cards. It's easy to sign up, takes a minute. I just have to know that you're part of this office and where you want your rewards mailed to. Because when you do sign up with us, you're offering your client the 120 in bill credits, and then you get a $60 Visa card every time that you send us a referral. That $60 Visa card too is coming digitally. That's so hard for me to say, digitally. Digitally this year.
Quickly.
So
Email.
it's gonna be emailed to you. How about that? But if you prefer a physical card, you can choose that, but it will be sent by email. So just look for that email, because it's gonna be sent a lot quicker from the time you refer. And real quick, I've gotten several emails lately of, hey, I've referred, but I don't see it in my portal. I don't see this property address that I know I referred. Always send those to me. A lot of times you refer someone, but they may end up signing up with Georgia Natural Gas, but using a different promo code and not giving us your referral code. So we have no idea that you sent them to us, but I want you to always get credit. So if you will reach out to me, send me the property address, I can look it up. I'll attach your referral code to that. Okay, so just let me know. Another last thing, has anybody got their agent packets in the mail? If you're part of our program, you should have received these in the mail.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, Susan. If you haven't received one, will you please email me and let me know, and we'll be sure we get you one.
I just got mine like yesterday. So.
Oh, did you? Somebody, okay. Well, I got mine like when I was here 2 weeks ago. I got home and I had mine in the mail, so. But if you do not have it, haven't received it, send it to me and I'll be sure you get it.
Her email is up here.
Yes.
And it will be sent out in the slide deck later on this afternoon. So you got it.
Thank you, guys.
Cool. Thank you. All right. Derek White with Up Equity, I don't see him here. But if y'all have a buy before you sell, Derek White is your guy. All right. He also has a $500 listing agent referral fee. There is the application link that you'll use for Roswell. Okay, Diane Endeavors. These are some of the marketing and designs that Diane Endeavors is doing. So if you're doing some pop buys or something like that for Valentine's Day, you might as well use them, right? Okay, tools to run your business. Remember, all of these are linked, so you're welcome to go and learn all about that. Last thing, awards. Award ceremony is February 7th. It's also our 20th anniversary. I know. So if you have not RSVP, but you would like to go, please click on that link. That link only, okay? And you have to RSVP by 2 p.m. today. We do have to let the Country Club of Roswell know what our final count is. So if you're going, please do that. Roswell Roots, it is Black History Month in February. Who is talking to us about this? Oh.
I'm here. So what we're doing for the month, we're gonna have some other things that will be a part of this, but we want to take the office for all of us to go see Origin. Have you all heard about the movie Origin?
I watched the trailer. It looks amazing.
It is, it really is. So this is just one of the things that we want to do for the month. We have a lot of other things that'll be coming up, so sign up. We're gonna get our final date probably within the next few days, but it will be during the month of February. You can ask me a question.
I think it's gonna be on the 22nd. That's what we're.
What's not gonna be on the 26th?
Disregard that side conversation.
Okay.
Be on the 26th.
We'll figure it out.
That would be in the month of January.
Does anybody else feel like I've just been watching mom and dad argue?
The Roswell on the Rocks that same day. Remember, we're doing, to go. Okay, well,
We're gonna we'll have it.
yeah.
Conversation sounds great.
All right, this is gonna be exciting. This is gonna be really, really great. I think it's going to bring some awareness around some areas that oftentimes we think that we don't have any bias in, and then we actually find out, well, shoot, I guess I did have a little bias. So I love that. And then, how many dual career agents do we have in the house? How many dual career agents do we have? Are y'all going to this Ignite After Dark?
I'm in Ignite during the day, but.
You're in Ignite during the day, excellent. Anybody doing this Ignite After Dark? Okay, y'all can jump in. You can jump in anytime. This is a national class. There is no CE hours. Repeat after me, no CE.
No CE.
Nice, okay, so, but it is available to you, there is a Zoom link. All you need to do is click on that and it'll take you right there. Miss Melba. Here, this morning, so, what you got for us?
I am scheduled to come to this market. Well, I go to every market center for Georgia Legacy Group. Last week I was in Savannah, so I do go to every one. Robin's right.
I'm talking about, it took 30 minutes for me to get you up here, that's
Oh.
all.
But
You're always here.
what I was going to say is that it seems like that the time that's scheduled for Roswell is a time that is something else is going on. So if you'll notice, this is not my scheduled day. We have 5 Tuesdays in, whatever this month is, Tuesday, in January. It's Tuesday. And so last week, because I went to Savannah, Robin was very kind to allow me to change it, because going to Savannah is not something I can sort of change too easily. So I went to Savannah last week, and then this week it worked out to come here. So I wanted to thank her for allowing me to be able to do that for her. So I am going to every team meeting. A lot of you've heard this conversation, but I'm going to repeat it again. Because as Andy has asked me to repeat this over and over again, because our goal is to help you make your life easy. So one of the biggest changes that happened, I know the CAD had a change, but to me, this by far is the biggest change that happened in 2024. Today is what? The 20 what? Today is the 30th, so tomorrow's the last day of the month. So after today, tomorrow, you cannot use the 2023 forms anymore. You don't have access to them probably, But all of the 2024 forms will have to be used actively on February the 1st. They cannot be used any longer. Now, that being said, you might have a 2023 contract, which is fine. And when you count or do an amendment, obviously, you're going to do it on a 2024 form. If you wrote the offer today on a 2023 form and you didn't get it binding and you start using a counter form, then you use a 2024 form. Everybody got that? The form that was changed, in my opinion, the biggest was relative, Seth did it relative to the lawsuit. So in 2023, back up your brains, in 2023, we had one of the biggest, don't go to there yet, but we had one of the biggest changes in 2023. And that was relative to to the buyer brokerage engagement agreement. We had a little with it last year because it basically said that the buyer's paying minus what the seller is paying. Everybody remember that? But we did real well. We made it. We suffered a little bit, or we tried to do it, but we did okay. We did okay. Well, that was good for us. However, in 2024, Seth Weisman is the attorney for the Georgia Association of Realtors. He does a lot of other things great, but what he does best, in my opinion, is representing you in the state. There's no question he does a good job on that. So what he did was he tried to make the seller brokerage engagement agreement a little bit more compliant with what the class action lawsuit was referencing. Everybody with me so far? So basically, thank you if you'll pull it up. This is the first part. This is on page 2 of the exclusive seller brokerage engagement agreement. And the first part is identical to last year. And it says commission be paid to seller's broker. Seller agrees to pay the broker the following commission at the closing of any contract to sell is that term herein and after defined on the property as before as follows. And there's a percentage. If I were you and you get to this part, I hope that you have shown your value to the seller. And that you've not, before you get to this part for him to sign it, you've gone over your marketing plan, the great value that you bring to the seller. Are we good? So I would look at the seller and say, Mr. Seller, I hope that during this time I have been with you, I have provided you with enough information to know that my services and what are obviously negotiable, but our policy, our office policy, says that we charge 3% for the value that we bring to our sellers. I got it? Okay. Next part, move. Oh, stop, excuse me, go back. Go back. We haven't gotten to the B yet. Okay, the B is what they have added in 2024. It's seller direct seller's broker to pay or not to pay, or cooperative broker, and there's a little check mark in there for you to check, to pay or not to pay. A cooperative broker, a portion of seller's commission above. Nothing herein shall obligate the seller to direct broker to pay the portion of its commission to cooperating broker. In such event, the buyer shall be responsible for paying the cooperating brokers. I'm sorry about that. If seller's broker is paying the cooperating broker a portion of its commission, it shall be in the amount set forth below, subject to the following exceptions. So this is new. And what we're doing is, if you'll see up at the top, there's a blank, check, shall or shall not. So this is a word I want you to get used to saying repeatedly. Some of you already remember it because I've heard me say it now, 10 times? But we want to give the seller a choice. Thank you for remembering. Choice. Does the seller hear everything you say the first time? No. So you're going to start off with, Mr. Seller, you have a choice. Everybody got that? You have a choice. To either pay the cooperating broker or not to pay the cooperating broker. However, I do want to tell you that I recommend, and it's okay for you to recommend, who do you represent? The seller. I recommend that we do offer the other agent an incentive to sell your house. I do recommend that. I think it's better because I told you earlier that I have 3 goals. One is to get you the most money in your pocket in the least amount of time with the least headache. Did we tell them that a lot? Well, for me to get you the most money, my goal is to expose it to every agent in the multiple listing service. What's the number 1 source of buyers? You're right. But see, you don't get it. Remember, I don't like to just tell you. I like you to get it. Does that make sense? Because if you really get it, then you can have a conversation about it a little differently. The seller thinks the number one source of buyers is the internet. Malarkey. It's actually other agents. Does anyone get it? An agent in Peachtree City can sell your house here in Roswell. So exposing that listing to all agents and giving all of those agents an incentive to sell your house, I think I could get more money for your house. Do you agree? These people that think these off-market properties, I have a problem with that. It's okay. But I don't think you're getting the seller the most money. Because you didn't know what agent has got a buyer that will pay a lot more for that property. So, Mr. Seller, it is your choice, but I do recommend that we give an incentive to the other agent. Also, I feel like we put it in the price up front. So I recommend, and our policy recommends, that we give 3% to that other agent for the services that that buyer agent provides and as an incentive to sell your home. So we're going to recommend we put 3 here, and if we do that, then the total above would be 6. So you would put 6 here and 3 here. Everybody got it so far?
Yeah.
Now, this is what I believe with all my heart. And I've had several agents call me and say, Melba, after hearing you communicate this, I went to the seller and it wasn't a problem. I want to stop here and say this. You should be very fortunate you're a part of Georgia Legacy Group. They have made a decision to communicate. They've made a decision to talk out loud about it. They made a decision to help you in all the work that you do. And that's why Andy said, Melba, I want you to repeat this over. How many times some of you heard this? 3? Okay, I'm sorry about that. Move on.
I want to know if Dawn hears you speaking in your sleep. Choice, incentivize.
He wouldn't know. So the point of the So the point of the story is this. Keller Williams, Georgia Legacy Group, believes in communication. Unfortunately, there's some offices and companies that are very nervous relative to the lawsuit and have made a decision, their decision, to not have a communication about it, to not talk about it. And we are not that way. So we are trying to help you. So back to this new form, or not a new form, it's an old form with some new language. We feel that our Georgia Legacy groups are going to be able, agents are going to be able to communicate a little bit better than the other agents out there relative to getting the seller to pay the percentage. Everybody with me so far? You got a co-op. And you're co-oping with those agents from those companies, about everybody getting where I'm going, that didn't communicate and know nothing. And do not know how to communicate with the seller. We had an agent the other day that said, very condescending to our agent, I can't believe you haven't heard about the new lawsuit and you haven't heard about the new law. Sellers can't pay commission. But I've heard that now 3 times. Yeah. What they're saying is they can pay a marketing fee, but they can't pay a commission. So folks, is there a lot of, can I say the word stupid? Minds out there that are not, but why is the problem? They're not having anybody help them or communicate with them properly. If I got it?
And they're not at Keller Williams.
Well, I said that, but that's true. You're right. Everybody with me so far?
Yes.
So I cannot do this today without helping you when you co-op with Ding Dong Bell. So you show property. Everybody good? You know, I sat here and watched all of you and I saw very few smiles. So if I can make you smile today, I'm gonna do it, right? Yeah. Because I saw a lot of people listening, but nobody was smiling. I didn't like that. So now you're smiling. So listen to me. You're going to show 4 or 5 houses. And the one house that the buyer really wants to purchase is the one where the agent is offering 0 in commission. We good so far? Everybody hear me? So this is what I want you to do first. Call the agent. Hi, My name is Melba Franklin. I'm with Keller Williams. I have a buyer that's real interested in your property, but I noticed in the multiple listing service that you are not offering a commission to the cooperative broker. Is that right? Yes. Would your seller offer a commission? We've had two that said yes. That was all. One said, can I check? They called and the seller said, yes, I will pay. What will you pay? They said they would agree to pay 3. Now, what in? Did they put it in the multiple? I'm not real sure, but I'm not gonna question. Now, everybody listen with both ears. The multiple list, we don't have to co-op in the state of Georgia. It's not a law. They don't have to pay you, but the multiple listing service says, I will co-op when we belong to it. Says I will co-op and this is what I'll pay you. So you just call the agent. They might say no, but let's do the one that they said yes, okay? So now they're saying they will pay you and they will pay you 3. Everybody good so far? But the multiple listing service says 0, right, Heather? So I want you to listen to me. There's a form that I want, wait a minute. Can that agent go deaf and dumb?
Yes.
Okay, so I want to get you to get that in writing. So before you write the offer, it might be a good idea. Thank you so much for calling the seller. And thank you so much for offering incentive to me to write an offer on your home. I'm going to be sending over a co-op commission agreement and it's it's F-258. 258, right?
Everyone write it down.
Okay, listen to me. You get the other agent to sign it because now it's a co-op because it's not, the co-op agreement's a multiple listing service, right? So now we're going to change it. Everybody good? What I want you to listen to, this does not preempt or take the place of instructions to closing attorney. People just read the title. Co-op commission agreement. The instructions to closing attorney is not the same instruction. Everybody got it?
Yeah.
So you still need this one because you might want to give a home warranty. You got to give this to they're 2 different forms. Everybody got it? All right. So keep with me, please. We call the other agent and they say, well, can't you read or whatever? My seller's not willing to give anything and I'm not calling him. He's not going to do it. Everybody got that scenario? Now, what did I tell you to do first? Call the agent. Just try it. Everybody got it? All right. So you go, now this is what you got to do. In 2023, I went to every team meeting. I said it over and over again, and I talked about a value proposition for a buyer. I showed a video from Seth, and we talked about that new form, the buyer brokerage engagement agreement, and we talked over and over and over again all year. God is so good. I stood in front of you and even said these words. It might have, for those that listened, I said, it might happen in my lifetime, in my real estate career. Never. Ever did I dream that it was going to happen in October. Do y'all remember me? Some of you remember me standing up here and saying, it might happen in my lifetime. It might happen in my real estate career. Well, hell's bells, it happened in October. So the bottom line is this. We went around and talked about the value of a buyer consultation. And in that video I showed you, which is 2 years old, it talked about the value of a buyer consultation. So back to the scenario, I called the agent said no. Everybody good so far? So I'm gonna go back to the buyer, and this is what you have got to do. You go back to the buyer. Mr. Buyer, unfortunately, the particular home that you really love, the agent is not offering a commission. And remember when I did the buyer consultation and showed my value to you? And you agreed to pay me 3%. Well, 3 minus 0 is 3, so you're gonna pay me 3%. Everybody got it so far? Now, I wanna tell you this, and I want everybody to listen. You have got to do buyer consultations. We've told you this for years. But you've got, folks, we have spent hours learning how to talk to a seller and a seller's presentation and a seller's marketing plan. We spent hours helping you on scripts for how to get the brokerage engagement signed with the seller, how to overcome and handle objections with commission. Did we do that?
Yeah.
We have got to share the value that we have with buyers and be able to articulate that prior to writing an offer. This old school of getting the buyer consultation right before you write a contract is, I said it all year long, has got to stop. Because what I just said about going to the buyer back, if you didn't do that, you're gonna look like a goof. So now we go back to the buyer, Mr. Buyer. This particular home, they're not willing to pay a commission. Therefore, you're gonna owe me a commission. Everybody got it? You need to articulate that with them. I met with some people after Chartmasters, and one of them said, that was Sarah, made a comment, and I was stood there and, oh, she said something about how her buyer appreciated her value. That's it. That's it. And then I had another agent, one of the other offices that said, my buyer looked at me and said, I want you to be paid. See, because they articulated the value that they brought to them earlier and said, you should get paid. Everybody good so far? So you've got to start doing this more. You got to learn to do it just like you did for a seller. And we got to articulate with that buyer, we'll fight, we'll hurt, we'll do anything to get you paid. Are we good? Stay with me. But this buyer says, I'll be honest with you. The 3%, I said I would pay, and you're worth it. See, that's what I want them to say. You got it. You're worth it. I'll be honest. We have the down payment and the closing costs, but we don't have any extra dollars. Is there anything else we can do? And then we can say, well, we can ask the seller, show that next slide. If you would like, there's a new special step. Now, this is 620, but there is a 619. Many of you are sitting here knowing, Melba, don't you know that on VA, the seller can't pay a commission? So 619 is a special step relative to VA loans. 620 is for conventional. And here's the special step. Buyer hereby requests and seller hereby agrees to pay buyer's broker blank at the total real estate commission due to buyer's broker at closing. Nothing in here shall be interpreted as a request to alter, modify, or change the commission to be received by seller's broker, if any, that seller may have agreed to in seller's broker in any separate written agreement. Now, listen, with both ears, not one. The Georgia Real Estate License Law says that it is against the license law for an agent to alter, change, or modify a commission without prior written consent of the other agent. Remember that? So what Seth did on this one, he doesn't say the agent's requesting it. Who's requesting it? The buyer. The buyer. But if you don't go to the buyer first and show your value and you need and listen, if I'm rude to me, you don't say, Mr. Buyer, don't worry about paying me. I can put a special step. Thank you. Don't do that. Does everybody get it? What I want you to do is go back to the buyer. Yeah. Have a conversation. Go have a conversation with the buyer. Do you know we had some buyers that said, I will pay you. You don't know, we have this, what is it called, limiting belief? If you ask, they'll say, I don't have a problem with that. Okay. Do you see what I'm doing? I've got to change our mindset. We are worth value, and we should have shown that to the buyer, and some will pay. Everybody got it? But if they say they can't, then I say, is there anything else we can do? You can say, well, I can add this special step. I just don't want you to add the special step without having the conversation. Does this make sense? Why?
Yes.
Okay, does everybody got it?
Yes.
We good? Seller agrees. Everybody got it? Seller agrees. We're okay. Everybody got it? Okay, I gotta do one more. Can I do one more?
Yes.
All right, are you ready? The seller says, no. Not gonna do it. Could this happen?
Yes.
I am doing my best to help you in this new world. Because I'm gonna say this to you, and I mean it with all my heart and soul. I believe that we're gonna deal with this minutia. Can I call it minutia? Whatever, all year, just like we did last year. You ready? This is Melba's prediction. You already know about my predictions. Wendy talked about the other day. Melba, I remember you saying that 7 years ago about interest rates. Everybody good? I believe with all my heart that after this is over, we're We're gonna be doing it the same way we've always done it, but there's going to be big changes. The change is choice, because the seller never had a choice before, and transparency. And that's what the lawsuit's all about. So I believe we'll end up doing it the same way we always do it, but now people have choices. They'll always have choice. Are you ready? And there's more transparency. Everybody got it? And my favorite part of this learning, is you will be able to articulate your value to the buyer, which I have been saying for years, even in Ignite. So I'm a believer that there's some good stuff going to come out of this. We just got to deal with it. So back to the seller saying, I will not do this special step. Everybody with me again?
Yep.
Got you back? Well, you could say, Mr. Buyer, we could ask the seller to pay an extra 3% toward closing cost. Everybody with me? Now, the closing cost is given to the buyer, and then the buyer, and if you read the purchase and sell, and guess what? This has been in there for years and years and years. It says that the buyer can use it for whatever they want as long as the lender approves, including commission. Said that forever and ever and ever, amen. So you say to the buyers, that would be great. We'd ask them to pay 2, so now we can ask them to pay 5, or we were paying nothing and now they're gonna pay 3. Everybody got it? But you don't do this before, I love Heather, before you have a conversation with the buyer. See, this doesn't preempt that. Everybody got it? So, Mr. Buyer, there's something else we could ask the seller to pay 3% toward closing costs. Everybody good so far? Are we good so far? We good so far? So you write that in the contract, 3%, the extra, whatever it was before. If it was 0, you put 3. If it was 3, you put 6. Everybody good so far? Now call to a lender and make sure you don't go past the limit.
Say that again?
Talk to the lender, make sure, well, and make sure you don't go past the limit. Everybody good so far? All right. In the purchase and sell agreement, you're asking the seller to pay that extra 3% toward closing costs. But you don't need to put in the contract what the buyer's going to use it for, do you?
Nope.
Because they can use it for anything they want. They don't have to put in the, so you don't need to write anything in there. But there's a problem. Everybody with me? That problem is that buyer could have amnesia. Everybody good? So in your buyer brokerage engagement agreement that you had with that buyer, say they're going to pay 3. Are they still going to pay 3? Yeah, but they're getting it from the closing cost, right? So there's a form, and I forgot to bring it with me, it's my desk. It's called the Amendment to the Brokerage Engagement Agreement. And the person with glasses on is sitting right here, and you can look right here and find out what number it is. It's called Amendment to the Brokerage Engagement Agreement. It is something we've never used before, but it's been there for a long time. And so what I would do is called Amendment to the Brokerage Engagement Agreement.
Bottom left should be the number, right?
I don't know, that's not what she's doing.
Because of the other.
I don't either. It's gonna be an amendment.
Yeah.
It's gonna be an amendment.
728.
So you're good, 728, thank you very much. So 728 is an amendment, thank you very much, amendment to the brokerage engagement agreement. Everybody got it? So what I would do, this is between you and the buyer, I would get the buyer to say, the closing costs, if it's 3% of the closing cost the seller is giving me, I would use toward paying what I'm supposed to pay. Everybody got it? And that's between you and the buyer, so he's acknowledging that he agrees that some of the money that the seller is giving him for closing costs, he's gonna use that. Now, who else do you need to tell? The lender. Everybody got it? So I'm trying to help you. I hope you don't have to go to this extent, but at the same time, I'm trying our best to help you deal with the 2024 changes. Once we get through this and we do better, I think we'll be fine. We just got to get through it. Hopefully I was clear, but you have a question? Yes, Pam.
I do. Earlier you said seller doesn't have a choice on the commission amount. Did you mean buyer?
No, I meant seller. Years ago, seller didn't have a choice.
Because I thought a lot of the.
Let me just say this,
Was that the buyer?
our present policy manual. If I was young and cute and skinny, I'd jump on that chair, but I can't.
Don't you dare.
Don't trust me, it doesn't matter, I won't. Listen, this is what I want you to hear. Our policy manual is totally in error today. You're gonna get a new policy manual either today or tomorrow from Andy. I have been working on it. How many of you were on the phone call with Seth when he had over 1,000 people on the phone call relative, huh? Yeah, wasn't that good? It wasn't about him as an attorney, it wasn't about forms, it wasn't about anything but the lawsuit and how it affects Georgia Realtors. It was, like I said, there's a lot of things I don't like about Seth, but representing Georgia Realtors, he does an extraordinary job, really. And I tell him that all the time. So he, in that conversation, talked a lot about the lawsuit. And at that conversation, he said, the majority of all policy manuals in Georgia needs to change. Whoa, I ran at 150,000 miles an hour and checked hours. And oh, I didn't have it. Our present policy manual, Pam, says that the office policy is oh gosh, even saying it out loud makes me nervous. He said, Mr. Feller, our policy is we charge 6% and 3 of which goes to the buyer's agent. Did the seller have a choice? Not in that, thank you very much. We have changed it. The seller gets a choice. Everybody got it? It's the seller's broker engagement agreement, that form, if you want to go back, is what changed. And the seller now gets a choice. So back to where I was earlier, if I said, Mr. Seller, you have a choice, blah, 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 and I said, but I believe that we should give an incentive to the buyer's agent. I think it's good business for you and it helps you get your home sold with most money, but it's still your choice. I'm gonna say at minimum, getting at the end, everybody got it minimum twice. Did that help you? If I said something buyer or seller wrong, I might have, but it's the seller who has a choice. The seller pays, seller has a choice. Yes.
Hey, Melvin.
There you go.
At 258, we would present that to the buyer if there's 0% in the MLS, but then seller decides, I'll do it. When do you discuss that, or when do you do that when you're about to go set up a showing to see that house? Because what if they don't like that house? You know what I mean?
I'm not going to, this is Melba. I will not make a decision in my life. I will never make a decision about showing a house because of what I get in commission. Ever. Ever. I will show every house that fits my buyer's needs, period, door slam.
Fiduciary.
I don't want to go there, but just don't do it. Yeah, but anyway. That's me.
Do the right thing.
I'm gonna do the right thing and show houses without making the commission the reason I show a house.
Do the right thing.
So when do you present that?
Okay, again, I showed houses. And out of the 4 houses or 5 houses I showed, that dadgummit, the one the buyer wants to write an offer on had 0 commission. So what I said was, let's see, what am I gonna do first? Call the other agent. Good job. They say, go jump in the lake, you ain't getting anything. Then what am I gonna do?
Talk to the buyer.
Go back to the buyer. Do you see why I want to talk to the buyer? I want them, I can fix it, but I want them to appreciate my, thank you. I want them to appreciate my value or restate what I did for them. And then if they say, I really do believe you have value, I enjoy meeting with you and you've been great, but I'm just not sure we have, some people will pay you, am I right? Limited belief. Some will say, we don't. And I would say, well, there is an alternative we can use if you want to, And there's a special stipend and I would introduce that to them. So I'm gonna do it before I write the offer. Did that
On
answer
that
your question?
particular house.
Yeah, I just
In
want
that
to make sure you
situation.
bring it up and when you do the fire presentation.
No, I didn't. My buyer consultation, absolutely. How much are they paying me on the buyer consultation? 3. And I'm gonna show that my value right there, right then. I will never put less than 3. Everybody got it? That's what our policy says, and it's my value. And I can show them my value by the way I communicate and the things that I do for them in my buyer consultation. So when I leave that, they have my house for 4 months. They appreciate me. They know the value that I bring, and they know what I do. Nobody's better than negotiating than I do. Everybody say that.
Nobody's better than negotiating than I.
Can you get better tomorrow?
Yes.
But right now, you're good, aren't you?
Yes.
And you look at that, you let them understand and love to want to work with you. It might be 6 months before you do it. So every buyer consultation, we should have showed them that they're going to not have to pay us. But we should have been doing that a long time ago. 3 minus 3 is. If they pay you. It'll be good. Somebody asked me a question. Did I not answer your question?
You good, Wesley?
Yes.
Okay, did I answer your question? I have this thing about clarity. And I remember, I'm a weirdo. I don't like to tell you the answer. I like for you to really get it. So I like the question because that way you can internalize it a little bit better so you can articulate it to the client.
I got
Good.
you. Maybe. It may be confusing for some people only because the top of that form says
I know.
to use prior to showing. That could just be why.
There's a form, that form that says changing the co-op commission says prior to showing. I talked to Seth, and when I went, some of you already know this, when I went to the, train the trainer, I hyperventilated on about 4 or 5 things. And so I sent them a long list, and I met Seth in Savannah, actually. And he said, we're changing the things you said you were. It's hard for him to do that. But there are going to be some changes, but I agree, the co-op commission could be used, ideally, if that. Let me explain to you what it was meant for originally. We just started this new world, right? Okay, let me tell you what that was meant for originally. Are you ready?
Please.
We've had it forever. And this is what it was meant for originally. You see a property off market. Do you have to go out in the state of Georgia? No. What tells you you're getting paid? Multiple listing service. So if you show an off-market property, or you have a friend or relative that does a property, are you with me so far? And before you show it, you better call them up. Hi, my name is Melba Franklin. Do you co-op? Yes. Will you pay me a commission? Yes. Great. What will you pay me? And that's what that form was originally for before you showed the property. We had a problem in Dunwoody when I was with Remax. An agent, you know what? We get our license and we forget the law. There was too much laughter for that one. He showed the property, he sent over and wrote an offer, he sent over the closing instructions, and this other guy didn't sign it. Went to closing, you already heard about this. Went to closing, and the other agent didn't pay him a penny. And he said, nothing said I would co-op, it wasn't in the multiple listing service. You don't have to co-op. The multiple listing service is a contractual agreement. Company sign and say, I will co-op and I will pay you, but there's no law in Georgia. If you see a sign and it's not in the multiple listing service, or if you find an off-marketed property or one that's not listed, you better, do you co-op? Do you pay? Yes. What do you pay? And that was the form, because you would have done that before you showed it. And that was the original part of that form. I'm saying today, you might be using it for another reason. Did I get it? Yes. And that was the original. Okay, this is new. Yes. Any others? Yes.
So, my sister is also an agent. I won't say her name, but the office she's with. I've been in the industry substantially longer. Lived and died through the ups and downs. So she called me the other day and said that her buyer, she had this exact situation. Her buyer wanted to add it to the sales price, and I've seen it in.
Can you do that?
Only if it appraises though.
No, only if it appraises, but what is the point adding it to sales price if you don't ask for the seller to pay it?
Oh, no, absolutely.
So you still gotta have that special step.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
Just give me clarity for everybody in here.
she was saying, it's fine if we just add it in sales price. I said, it is, as long as the buyer understands that there is a potential possibility that it may not close because the property, the comps in the communities are not gonna
Good
show
point.
that they're getting 102% or 103%.
Good point.
For these homes.
I think you're gonna see that a lot though.
Yeah.
I think you're gonna add that special step and the seller's gonna counter back and say, I'll pay it in the price. I think that's gonna happen.
Yeah.
Is everybody with me on that? Now stop. Everybody got that part? I'm gonna bring you back. On the original conversation we have with sellers, what did you just see in that? The special step was there, and what would the seller do at its price? Wouldn't it have been better between us as if they'd already done that when they listed it.
Absolutely.
So that's my point. I do agree with you. I think that if they can keep it in the appraised amount, keeping that in the mindset, which is brilliant on your part. If you can keep it in the appraised amount, I think the seller might counter back and say, I'll pay it, but I'll raise the price. And that's what we need to be as appraiser. Wouldn't they do it up front? So my point is, I tell you all of this because you're thinking now, and then you're articulating to a seller with that, with the least, the most money. Wait, did I say that, Mr. Seller? There's three things: most money, least headache. That's just not everything, but least headache. You couldn't get somebody to ask for it, and we didn't include it in the price. See, I want you to process all this in your mind and go, that's back to what I said. I think Georgia Legacy Group and our agents are gonna be better about getting seller to pay it. It's the co-op agent that I hate for you, not hate for you, but hurt for you to have to deal with. Yes, is this okay that I do this?
Go for it.
If you raise the price to cover the closing costs, could you also stipulate that the seller will pay X over appraised value?
You could. You can do anything you want to. You can ask them to pay the garage store agreement.
No, protect the deal.
Yeah.
Say that again, Karen.
She's saying to waive the appraisal or the buyer, there's appraisal special stipulation that you can write in a contract special stip that the buyer agrees to pay
Or
blank.
the seller. If I'm the buyer's agent, I might stipulate that the seller agrees to pay up to 5,000 over.
So an escalation clause.
Well, no, you don't,
Not
no, you're wrong.
Clause.
Well, stop. You don't need that. If the seller agrees to the price, he doesn't need to pay more. The seller's getting the money. The seller's getting the money.
Right.
So you didn't, he's just getting less.
Right. You probably won't. I guess if my buyer.
If the buyer gets less,
Yeah.
the buyer would pay the difference. If the appraisal comes in less, and it's the buyer that controls that, not the seller. Everybody got it? We just got a little confused. It's the buyer that controls that, not the seller.
I think there's a lot of
Can
maneuvers.
I ask a quick question?
Close.
I agree.
That go over and then the set buyers and or the sellers are gonna start saying, well, we're getting more than that, we're getting more than asking price in my neighborhood. Probably not really, you know.
Yeah, I wouldn't deal with 1%ers today. We could go down those money trips. If you've ever been on the forms committee, believe me, I served many years, they won't deal with 1%ers because there's no point. So I don't deal with 1%ers because it just confuses people. So I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't go down that 1%er bunny trail. But there, we still have that today, do we not? We had one, I had dealt with one, I can't remember what office it was, might have been in here, can't remember right now, where it appraised for, oh, I do remember, I just had the recall. It appraised for $20-something thousand less than the price. Actually, it was more than that, but the buyer was willing to come up 20 and the seller was willing to go down 20. So he went down in the price.
There's a question on Zoom.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you, Robin. Melba.
Hey, Nicole.
Hey, how are you? So my quick question is this. We've gone to the agent, we've asked. The agent said, yes, the seller will do it. You actually put that special step in there, but then the seller changes their mind. They don't want to pay it. Okay. You've already prepped your buyer that they weren't doing the 3%.
Stop. You put this special, wait, I just for clarity for Melba. You had a purchase and sell agreement and you put that special step of 620 in the purchase and sell agreement? Is that right?
Okay, so basically my scenario is this. You've done the chain of command, the protocol that you've asked us to do. Okay. The seller just decided he doesn't want to pay. Your buyer understands that they're going to pay.
Counters back and won't do this special step.
Right. But my point of the matter is the buyer knows they're on the hook to pay. They're willing to pay. If we get to the appraisal part and it appraises for more and your buyer was very tight in money, can we then at that point say the seller will pay X closing cost, in addition to, because we know it appraises for more. And now
that's not a broker question. What kind of question is that?
Right.
Lender question. Thank you.
Okay. All right, cool.
That's
Thank
not
you.
a broker question. That's a lender question.
Okay.
Yeah, the lender would have to answer that. That's not a broker question. There's nothing wrong with that, but that would strictly be a lender thing.
Yeah, so basically there's nothing wrong with it. Then I'll ask my lender and then we go from there. Cool. Thank you.
Yeah, it's a lender thing. They may or may not. I can't answer that. A lot of it depends upon what kind of loan is. They're putting down 5%, they put down 20%. There's so many other unique situations to it, and I don't do broker lender questions, so.
You know what I think is really interesting is when you look at this, I don't know what's going on. Can you get me back up there?
I want to tell you about the exceptions too. I'll do that when we come back.
Yeah, because here's what's interesting. It doesn't say buyer's broker hereby requests.
Yeah.
It says buyer requests. That's not you going, oh, I'll just tell them to do it. Choice.
I just want you to
You
go
gotta
back
go
and
back to the-
articulate.
You articulate
I
back
like
to
what
the
Heather said,
buyer, and if the
conversation.
buyer wants you to ask the seller, it's the buyer's request, not yours. That's important in this whole scenario. It's not you saying, well, I'm gonna get my commission one way or another. No, the buyer is saying, I'd like for you to request from the seller. You have to make that clear.
I
That's
might
why it
not know
doesn't
you
say
paid.
buyer's broker. It
They
says
say, I
buyer.
want you to be paid. I want you to go back and I want to say, is there anything else we can do? And you can tell
Correct.
them about this. Go back to that other one. I do want to mention about exceptions. That's always been in the seller brokerage engagement agreement, but it was worded a little different. And what that means is if the seller agrees to pay 6 and 3 to go to the other agent, everybody with me so far? What happened several years ago, we saw a lot of in the private remarks in FMLS that said if the listing agent shows the property, the commission to the buyer's agent will be reduced by 1%. There's nothing wrong with that. What happened is when it went to the closing table, the seller saw, wait a minute, I thought you were giving them 3 and now you're only giving them 2. So what happened was you can do that as long as it's disclosed. So what the Forms Committee did, they added to this that if there is an exception to the 6 and 3 or whatever's there, you need to articulate it so that the seller sees it prior to. Everybody got it? There's nothing wrong with that, and it was okay to do, but the seller needs to know about it. And so the word exceptions in the old seller brokerage, it had a different way to phrase that if it's different or something. And this time they just put exceptions, and I get a lot of questions. What would be an exception? There are probably others, but that's the one most of you know about. Okay, anything else? Did we do good?
Yes.
Do you feel a little bit better about it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we'll all feel better about it, and we spend a lot of time on seller listing agreements. We need to spend more time on buyer consultation.
Yeah, we're not we're not door openers. We are not door openers. Did y'all hear me say that?
Yes.
We are not door openers. We are professional real estate agents. Yeah. So, you have one more thing to say?
No, I do not. I stole somebody's pen and I wanted to return it.
do the right thing. Doing the right thing, integrity, man, it means something. Melvin, thank you for coming and spending so much time with us and clearing some things up. If you guys get into situations like this, especially when you have somebody that says, no, I'm not gonna pay it, and you're going to go down the road of asking for closing costs and things like that, will you please call Fiona Jane or Melba to get some clarity around this? Make sure you're doing it the right way and wording it the right way. If you've never done it, just pitch it on over to her and let her say yes or no. That looks good to me. Fire it off, right? Because don't we all need a little help with something we haven't done before?
Yeah.
Might as well get some help on it, yes?
Yes.
So, that was really great. Melba, thank you so much.
Thank you, Melba.
All right, this week's market update, what are you guys seeing here? I'm seeing this just under 7%. Man, I liked it when it was 6.59.
Yes.
I liked it at 6.59. Today is January 30th. What's tomorrow?
January 31st.
What's gonna happen on February 1 with this number right here? What do you think? We've seen it before. Where do you project if we were taking bets right now? What would we bet this number would be on February 1?
248.
Couple of hundred at least. Who's calling expireds? Guess where Haley is going to be on February 1? And she's gonna have a phone glued to her ear. Because she's gonna be getting her unfair share of 200 to 300 listings that somebody may list with her. Yeah? All right, so watch for it. It's gonna happen. All right, so we've got party chatter. You guys take a look at this. Remember, we say it all the time, memorize just 1 or 2 stats. And you're gonna look really good when somebody says, how's the market?
Fascinating.
Fascinating.
What's fascinating about it?
Exactly. What's fascinating about it? Well, you know, the average days on the market right now are 36 and the median days on market are 21. And now you get the opportunity to explain the difference between median and average and why it matters. The market is fascinating right now because we actually had 152 new listings hit in 11 counties in the last 24 hours. And what's really interesting is we had 217 go pending. Market is up. We're gonna have a great spring market. Yeah?
It is.
All right. You guys, you have had so much information. Do you feel equipped? Do you feel like a little bit better about this whole commission thing?
Yes.
Yeah? Because this is where, in order to be able to be the market expert, that means we've got to really know what we're doing. And if we just know a few things and know who to call, we're good, right?
That's all you need.
All you need.
Know a few things and know how to pick up the phone and make a call if you don't know for sure.
Exactly. All right. Next week, we're going to talk about open houses.
Ooh.
Right? Don't forget your ABADS. Inspiration, continuous improvement is better than delayed perfection.
And we're gonna talk about ABADS on Friday on the new agent boot camp call. So if you don't know what an ABAD is, you might want to be in attendance on that.
That would be very good. All right, y'all, we're gonna give you 5 minutes back to your life. Thank you so much for coming.
Guys.
February's coming, spring's coming. It's gonna be an amazing market. Thank you so much, guys.